Well, I don't have a disability. I'm just do things in a different way. I mean, I've grown up without any arms.
Back in 1996, I was injured through a car accident, swerved to miss a badger, hit a tree, broke my neck in 2 places. So since the age of 19, I've just had the use of my head. I spent a year in hospital with skull traction, which involves where they drill both sides of your skull, and I'm laying in the bed and I just had use of my eyes for 4.5 months. And people say, how did you get through it? If you imagine sort of sitting up looking at a ceiling for a minute, it seems nuts, doesn't it? But it's just crazy, really. I was on a life support machine for 4 months, which involved that to like puncture a hole into my throat to put the life support machine on. And the doctors did say that I would not come off a life support machine, but I wanted to prove them wrong.
I was one of the 458 thalidomide babies that were born in Britain. I've never seen myself as a disabled person. You know, I just do it. I just do things with my mouth and my feet and my chin that you do with your hands.
I remember coming out of hospital, because I was in Stoke Mandeville Hospital, so it was a good couple of hours away from my town. And I remember coming out and I was excited to leave hospital, but scared as well, because I was the only person in my sort of town really in a wheelchair like this, like a chin control wheelchair where I drive it with my chin. As you can see, like it's like a little ball here where I drive the chair forward, back, left and right, and that's how I get about now. Yeah, walking's overrated anyway.
The doctors felt that they had to fit us with lots of aids and adaptations, and I got my very first pair of artificial arms when I was about 3 years old, and they worked on gas and they were absolutely useless. You know, they took so long to do things. I had buttons in my shoulders, and by pushing my shoulders up and down I could do very simple things, but infuriated me because I knew that I could do everything I wanted to do with my feet. Up until the point that I went to do my foundation year, I'd been in an institution, a school for kids with disability. So I was used to lots of people with lots of disabilities, and actually going out into the big wide world and going with a group of able-bodied students was quite difficult, because especially when you're younger and you're thinking about body image and you're thinking about how people react to the fact that you don't have arms, and because we all do it. You know, you see somebody with a type of disability and you think it must be awful, because how can you do this or do that? And so it's all that proving yourself about that you can do things.
One of my biggest achievements, I would probably say, is being thrown off the back of a boat in the Red Sea with no use of your arms and legs, and completely handing your trust over to 3 people. Never did I think I'd be down swimming with the fish without the use of my arms and legs, 18 metres down in the Red Sea. It was just something so surreal. I went and paraglided over the Lake District for a week, and just when you're rolling down that mountain and you take off, there's no engine or nothing, you're soaring up there with the birds, and it's just like, am I really here? You know what I mean? And some people say to me, you haven't got a good life, or how can you enjoy that without the use of your arms and legs? Go up there, try it out, and tell me you didn't enjoy it. Would I have done any of these things if I hadn't have had my accident? When I was younger, I used to be a workaholic, and I always had the idea, if I work hard now, I'll play hard later. But I didn't think that I'd have the accident at 19. So, but that was my philosophy, if you get what I mean. Like, I just really wanted to work hard, and then if I work hard now, it'll pay off for later on. I've had to look at things differently and not just think of muscle power and physical ability. I've got to think, how can we plan this different, you know, because I've had my physical ability taken away, but it still doesn't mean I don't want to be sort of involved with team sports and physical sports, because I like all of that.
I'm an artist and I paint for the Mouth and Foot Painting Association.
The MFPA, the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists, is a really good organisation that I've been involved with for 2 years now. I'm one of their newest students.
The majority of our artists are artists that are in a wheelchair and all they can move is their head, like this and like this. That's the movement they've got in their whole body. So it's showing them the ways of being independent, because you don't want to sit at home and have somebody there to squeeze your paints out. You know, you want to have a workstation where in your electric wheelchair you can go in, knock a lid off a paint pot, you know, pick a paintbrush up and enable yourself to paint.
Tom was the one that got me encouraged more with the Mouth and Foot Painting Association, and it's been the best thing I've ever done, I think, to be honest. It's the biggest adventure I'm going through at the moment, is learning to paint, and it's changed my whole life, to be honest, because I look at things so much more different now to how I did before. But the goals I've scored now since my injury, I feel now are probably far greater than any goal I scored before my injury, because I've had to work a lot harder at it.
When you are alternatively able, you know, I think that I especially prove myself to do things. So, you know, I'm a qualified diver. I ski, well, I used to ski very well when I was little. So it hasn't stopped me from doing things. So I hate the word disability, actually. I think, you know, it definitely should be about the ability of somebody rather than their inability to do things.
When I was in rehab, they get you to practice like with a mouse stick like this, like typing and seeing if you can dial the phone. And they did get me to do a painting, but that was just in rehab. It wasn't something that I ever carried on doing. Didn't really want to do it. I was just in rehab. Didn't really want to be there at the time, so it wasn't something I carried on from there. And I've only been painting now just over 3 years, so it's very, very new to me. I'm still T-boy in the art world, I am.
My painting goes right back to when I was a child. I've grown up with my art just as an able-bodied artist has grown up. Painting with the hands, I grew up painting with my feet to start with, and then my mouth later on. I don't paint because I like painting. I do it because it's my job, and the Mouth and Foot Painters, you know, are able to support 800 artists financially. I'm very lucky in the fact that I can go out of my front door, get into a car on my own, you know, fill my petrol tank up myself, so I'm independent. The majority of our artists aren't, and when you've broken your neck and you've gone from being a very independent, physically independent person to suddenly waking up in the hospital and realising you can only move your head, your life is absolutely devastated, isn't it? And you think, you know, what am I going to do? So to have something that you can do which to start with might be just a therapy. You might be given a pencil in your mouth by the occupational therapist to learn to write your name, from a simple thing like that to going to being a very well paid artist because you paint by mouth. So that's what the association does. It takes somebody who is in a really black hole, and the end of the journey is them earning a living, which is enough for them to travel the world, have their own house and their own carers.
My hardest thing I found when I was injured was I was still concentrating too much on what I couldn't do, and I was beating myself up thinking I can't do that anymore. I'd growl at people that's running past or cycling past because I still wanted to do it. It's difficult at the beginning to try and find all the right answers, because we're not programmed in to live our life without the use of our arms and legs. It's just something we have to try and learn. So I would say concentrate on the things you can do, not the things you can't do, and make small goals, you know. Believe to achieve, and remember you've got one life, so live it.